Let's get the frick out of here, huh? Hello guys, welcome to Schizo Saint. Forgive my Princess Leia pose here. I realized I forgot my tripod, so I had to put you on the biggest rock that I could find in this beautiful wildflower patch. So hope that's cool. Hope my beautiful thighs don't distract you too much while we're going over this wonderful weapon. Today I want to talk about my project, the Draco, maxing out a gun that has such a horrible reputation in the industry, yet at its core is a totally decent, totally usable, totally respectable firearm. Now, I know what you might be thinking, Schizo Saint, you're the whitest guy I've ever seen. You have no business owning a Draco, and you're right, there are more Dracos in evidence lockers than gun lockers in this country. The Draco doesn't exactly have the best reputation, and out of the box, it really is just a toy. We're talking about a 12-inch AK47 with no stock or brace from the factory, typically. You can find them with the brace aftermarket, but the vast majority of Dracos come without any kind of stock or brace, which basically makes them a toy slash favorite of gangbangers. Not a lot of people know that the Draco actually was not a gun designed for the US market. This is a weapon that was originally a Romanian paratrooper rifle, and the stock is cut off and it is imported into the US as a handgun. So the Draco out of the box is pretty useless, but as you can see here, I have done some things to it to make it very good. It's not done, but I wanted to let you guys in on what was going on behind the scenes here with what I think is my new favorite, well, I guess legally handgun, but my new favorite carbine slash rifle. So how did I end up getting a Draco in the first place? Well, about 6 months ago, I was confronted with two pretty severe problems. One is I was falling in love with the AK platform with my Palmetto State Armory GF3. And if you guys remember, I kitted that thing out pretty substantially. However, there's a problem. I equipped the GF3 with really nice, really good aftermarket parts, but the core, the bones of the GF3 are just not something I have confidence in. The reality is there's more and more content coming out every day that the GF3 has really serious problems even after just 1,000 rounds. My baseline is I want a rifle that can go 20,000 rounds without any issue. Most AR-15s can do that, most foreign-made AKs can do that, but for whatever reason, GF3s just have too high of a failure rate, and I just can't trust my life. I can't commit to a gun that has that high of a failure rate. Maybe it is the case that mine is great. It has been great so far, but I just don't want to trust my life to it with all the data that we have out there. The other problem that I had is I had a 300 Blackout AR-15. Now, I ended up getting rid of that gun, partially so I could get this ACOG. More on that in a minute. I got rid of it, though, because stocking up 7.62x39 and 5.56 and 300 Blackout, not only is it expensive, you never feel like you have enough ammo. So I needed to get out of that cartridge. 300 Blackout is a cool cartridge for what it is, but it just didn't make any sense for me. I realized at that point, I already had 7.62x39. It'd be much better to get a small 7.62x39 than keep that 300 Blackout. So I ended up trading my 300 Blackout for this ACOG, and I ended up replacing the 300 Blackout with this. Now, I think I have effectively solved both of my problems. I have a foreign-made AK that, although again has a hilarious reputation and isn't anything pretty on the outside, the core of this gun is a Wasser. It's a 12-inch cold hammer forged barrel. Not a lot of people talk about that, by the way. Cold hammer forged. For $700, you can have a 7.62x39 with a cold hammer forged barrel. And it is something that, as you can see, I'm about 1,500 feet. I've hiked about 1,500 feet in elevation. It's been a pretty rough hike, but I was able to do it with a weapon that is really portable and that can fit comfortably in my Mystery Ranch TerraFrame 50. So let's go ahead and go over the Draco. We'll start from the tip and work our way to the butt, as is YouTube regulation. This is a Polish muzzle brake. I believe it's for 7.62 by 39 Briels. I don't even know if those are real, but on Atlantic Firearms it says it's a Briel break, but it's in 7.62 by 39. I don't even know if there are 7.62 by 39 Briels, but regardless, this break, although it doesn't look that impressive, actually tames recoil very, very well. And something that's really cool, you've got ports here, there's ports down here, and there's ports right here, but there's no ports right there. So there's nothing hitting the flashlight. There's no muzzle blast hitting the flashlight. I don't know if that's intentional or just divine providence, but I think that's pretty sweet. And it does tame the recoil pretty substantially. I know a lot of people, it's kind of a trend to put like the biggest break possible on your Draco. And although I can respect that, that's not something I intend on doing. But the break works very well. On this, my light is my Streamlight flashlight. I have had this for years. And although it is a pretty ghetto setup, it works insanely well. I've been doing a lot of night hiking lately with a friend of mine, and this light is wonderful. You can see, I would say it gives you visibility out to about 200 yards in pitch black conditions. That's just a rough guess. Please don't quote me on that. I've got it in a Kyber Customs flashlight mount, which was gifted to me by a friend for free. You know who you are. Thank you so much. I've got generic polymer furniture that I scavenged off of the GF3. Going back, I used to have an Adderall Arms red dot sight. In some of the B-roll, you will see that I have that equipped. I decided, though, that instead of this just being a PDW to replace my 300 Blackout, I did want to turn it into my main squeeze. So I ended up replacing the Adderall, putting back the original sight block, and equipping the ACOG. But before we get to that, I do have the Hobnob. Again, this was on my GF3, but I decided to put it on here, and dude, it just makes the AK so fun. It's just an ergonomic upgrade. It feels good, it looks good, and it just makes the AK that much more fun to use. Going back, I've got the safety selector that I took off my PSA as well. It's funny, my PSA has the Draco brake, and my PSA GF3 right now is in sort of a OG AK configuration, since it's really more of a toy than a tool at this point. Going even further back here, I've got a Midwest Industries scope mount with an ACOG TA01. Some nice lad on tax swap was willing to sell, or not sell, but trade my 300 Blackout upper for the ACOG, and I think I absolutely got the better end of that bargain, but I hope he is enjoying that upgrade. The tritium is dead in this, and there's no passive illumination because this is just a TA01, so there's no fiber optic, and the tritium is dead, so this really is just a daytime only ACOG. That's completely fine with me. I've never really cared for illumination. I've been seriously shooting for, give or take, 4 or 5 years, and I've never, even night hiking, I've never been in a situation where I've thought, man, I really need an illuminated reticle. So that's just me. Again, everyone's different. Everyone has different POUs. Everyone has different experiences. I can only speak to myself, but the glass on this and the field of view is unbelievable. I mean, technically it's less magnification than my Vortex 5X, my previous favorite optic. With the FOV on this thing, I feel like it's a 6 or 7X magnification. I mean, you're able to just see so much. I mean, it is just amazing. And don't worry, we will be shooting this in just a minute. Hopefully I can show you guys the ACOG in action. And then going back, I've got the K2 grip, which again, ripped off my GF3. And then right here, I've got the Bone Steel folding brace. This brace is the best brace I have ever had. It's really well made. It took about 3 weeks for it to get to my home. I think they're made to order. I decided to get the one that folds to the right. Let me show you why. So what's nice is when you fold it to the right, it creates a nice, it's kind of hard to explain, but I don't want the charging handle getting caught on things if I don't need it to. And so if I have it fold to the right, it's in line with the charging handle. So that way it's gonna come in and out of a bag a little easier. It also doesn't interfere with the scope mount. And I almost forgot to mention, so underneath this is an AK master mount. Dracos don't typically come with scope mounts installed, so you have to get the aftermarket AK master to do it. And installing it was a little bit of a pain, but nothing too crazy. And as far as I can tell, it has held 0, so I don't think it's going anywhere. So that's a quick overview of the Draco. I think this thing is turning out really well. The only other problem I need to solve is there's no good way to put a red dot on this. I got an Amazon red dot mount to put on top of the ACOG just to see if it was even worth investing in the more expensive mount. And the answer is no. The height over bore is literally, I think 5 or 6 inches, literally. I mean, it's just way too ridiculous. I'm willing to entertain some pretty ridiculous height over bore, but even for me, that's just way too much. And my head is just straight up floating in space. Like, I'm not even anywhere near the gun. And a canted red dot sight, I tried that for about 3 minutes, and then not only did it make the gun too bulky, but just like too wide, it just didn't feel good. I didn't like the way it shot. So there's no way I'm gonna be able to mount a red dot on this to accompany the ACOG. So what I think I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get the JMac Draco rail, and then I'm gonna put a visible laser on top. But enough of me yapping, let's go ahead. I'm gonna set up a target about 120 yards or so that way, and we'll put this ACOG to the test. Right, definitely hit it. We'll have to see how many times when we get up there. Hello, friends. All right, let's go check the damage. Well, there's a lot of chewed up dirt, so it's landing in the area. Where the frick is the water bottle? But there's, oh, there it is. I was like, there's no way 7.62x39 doesn't have power to completely blow it up. Okay, so what do we got? We got, hard to say if that's 1 or 2 hits. I don't know, guys, what do you think? Definitely hit it on the bottom there. So that's perfect, so I'm zeroed. Hallelujah. That's pretty good. Because I shot it, and then I lost it, and then I just shot at what I thought was the water bottle. So, although this water bottle looks a lot like these rocks. So, I was probably just shooting rocks, but cool. We'll call that a dubs. All right, guys, so that's my Draco so far. I love this thing. I think it's got a ton of potential. I think once I get the JMac rail on there and probably the SMS laser, I think this thing is just going to be a total masterpiece. And check it out. This is it in the Mystery Ranch Terraframe 50. Once the bag is completely over, look at that. You can't even tell there's a gun in there. So, like, the portability of it and how capable I am with it so far, really impressive. Everything I'm looking for in a main squeeze go-to rifle slash legally a handgun. So, looks like it's getting pretty stormy out there. I don't think that rain system's gonna hit me, but I'm gonna get off the mountain just in case. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Please, if you get anything from this video, 1, AKs are cool. Second of all, go outside. You owe it to yourself and to God to go outside. So have a great day.